Hi friends, welcome to EduTap. So as part of this video series, we shall be discussing MCQs that are based on the agriculture and rural economy related announcements made in the Union Budget 2018-19. Now this particular video series is very important for NABARD Grade A or B 2018 examination, as it forms a major part of the ESI and Agriculture and Rural Development paper. Now friends, we have already covered ESI related announcements in a separate video series. This series specifically caters to the agriculture and rural development related announcements. Now before we move ahead, let us have a look at how has EduTap covered Union Budget 2018-19. The first thing is an introductory video on Union Budget 2018-19 where we have explained at length as to how to approach this document from the point of view of examination. Second thing, we have provided extrapolated MCQs with detailed explanations. The third thing is this video series where we shall be discussing the MCQs. Now, as part of this particular video, we shall discuss questions that are numbered from 1 to 10. And these questions are regarding the agriculture and rural economy related announcements. Now let us start with the question number 1. So it says that in the Union Budget 2018-19, the government has made an important announcement regarding the MSP of Kharif Crops. MSP is minimum support price. The MSP for all announced Kharif crops would be at least how many times the production cost? Now friends, this announcement is very important and the answer to this question stands to be 1.5 times. Now, what are the other things that we need to study as part of this question? We need to know what do we mean by MSP, that is a minimum support price. How is it different from the procurement price, right? What is meant by issue price? So these are some of the terms we need to be familiar with. Right? So friends, before we move forward, it is very important for us to understand that these are just sample questions that are based on the agriculture and rural economy related announcements. Now, we have provided detailed explanations so that from those detailed explanations, there are numerous questions that can be formed. So it is very important for us to not only study these particular questions, but also go into the detail of the explanation so that we are ready for any type of question that comes our way in the examination. Now, as discussed earlier, kindly go through the document and read in detail what is meant by MSP, how is it different from procurement price, what is an issue price, what are the crops that are for which the MSP is announced by the government, and etc. So it is very important for you to cover this in a holistic manner. Now let us move on to question number 2. Right? So in the Union Budget 2018-19, the government has announced to increase the institutional credit for agriculture sector to how much for the year 2018-19 from the earlier Rs. 10 lakh crore that was there in 2017-18. Right? So friends, this is a very straightforward, direct, factual question. So the answer to this question is Rs. 11 lakh crore. So kindly note this data from the exam point of view. So the volume of institutional credit for agriculture sector has seen an increase from year to year. So initially in 2014-15, it was just Rs. 8.5 lakh crore. Then it has moved on to 10 lakh crore in the year 2017-18. Now the present allocation stands to be Rs. 11 lakh crore that we have discussed. Now let us discuss question number 3. So the question says the setting up of 2 new funds. What are those funds? Fisheries and Aquaculture Infrastructure Development Fund for fisheries sector, as well as an Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund for financing infrastructure requirement of animal husbandry sector, has been announced in the budget 2018-19. Now, what is the total corpus of the 2 new funds that have been announced. So friends, this is a very straightforward question. So kindly note this allocation. It is very, very important from the point of view of examination. The answer stands to be Rs 10,000 crore. Right? So this has been announced in the Union Budget 2018-19. Now friends, a similar announcement was made in the previous budget of 2017-18, but that was regarding the setting up of Dairy Infrastructure Development Fund. So there was also a question in the examination pertaining to the budgetary allocation of that particular fund. So automatically this question becomes important from the exam point of view. Now friends, let us have a look at what are the other announcements that would help the fisheries as well as the animal husbandry sector. Okay, the first thing is we have seen that 2 funds were set up, right, with a corpus of Rs 10,000 crore. Kindly keep this data in mind. Next, the government has decided to extend the facility of Kisan credit cards to this sector. Now, what should be our next step? We should understand the features of Kisan credit cards. So by knowing that, we would be prepared to face any kind of questions that comes in the examination. So this particular scheme, that is a Kisan credit card scheme, was first proposed in the budget of 1998-99. This is a fact that you need to remember, right? So consequent to this, NABARD had actually prepared a model Kisan credit card scheme in consultation with the major banks. So it was prepared on the basis of R.V. Gupta committee. Again, a factual question, keep this in mind as well. Now kindly go to the MCQ document to see the other features of this particular scheme, like who are the beneficiaries and which of the following or which of the financial institutions are eligible to provide this Kisan credit cards. Now let us move on to question number 4. So in the Union Budget 2018-19, the government has announced the launch of a Restructured National Bamboo Mission, which is based on a cluster-based approach to address the complete bamboo value chain and promote bamboo sector in a holistic manner. Now, what has been the outlay for this scheme? The answer to this question is Rs. 1290 crore. Now, kindly note this. It is a very important question. So, from the exam point of view, you need to memorize this allocation. Now, in the field of bamboo sector, there is one other important announcement that was made during the year. Now, let us have a look at it as well. Now, there was an amendment which was made to the Indian Forest Act of 1927. So, this amendment is very important. So, this entire development needs to be studied properly from the exam point of view. So now, under this act, that is the Indian Forest Act, there's a definition of tree which includes palms, bamboos, stumps, brushwood and canes. So after this amendment, so basically what they're doing is they're amending this definition of tree and removing the word bamboos. So now onwards, bamboo would not be categorized as tree. So what happens is, why is there a need to do this? Since bamboo is defined as a tree under the act, its interstate movement requires permit, right? So now because of this amendment, felling or maybe any transportation of bamboos which is grown in non-forest areas will not require any permits. So kindly note this. We have made a separate video on this particular development. So that video contains detailed analysis of this important amendment that has taken place to the Indian Forest Act 1927. Kindly go to that particular current affairs video and have a look at each and every point of it. This is very important from the point of view of examination. Now let us move to question number 5. So in the Union Budget 2018-19, the government has announced the launching of Operation Greens to address the price changes of perishable commodities like potatoes, tomatoes and onion. So what is the outlay of this particular scheme? Friends, please study this scheme in a holistic manner. Operation Greens. We have made a separate video regarding this scheme and we have highlighted the important points regarding it. Now, coming to the answer for this question. So, what is the outlay? The outlay stands to be Rs. 500 crore. Very simple, straightforward question. This data needs to be memorized. Moving on to question number 6. So in the Union Budget 2018-19, it has been announced that there would be 100% deduction in respect of profits to farmer producer companies which have a turnover of up to Rs.100 Crore. This deduction has been announced for a period of how many years starting from the financial year of 2018-19? The answer to this question is 5 years. So kindly go to the document, have a look at the development and kindly make a note of what do we mean by farmer producer organizations. These terms need to be familiar with. Now let us move on to question number 7. In the Union Budget 2018-19, how much amount has been allocated to support organized cultivation of highly specialized medicinal and aromatic plants and aid small and cottage industries that manufacture perfumes, essential oils and other associated products? The answer to this question is Rs.200 Crore. Nothing much to be explained about this question. Now let us discuss question number 8. It says that in the Union Budget 2018-19, it has been announced that an Agri-Market Infrastructure Fund, very important, I would repeat this again, Agri-Market Infrastructure Fund will be set up for developing and upgrading agricultural market infrastructure into 22,000 Grameen agricultural markets and 585 agriculture produce marketing committees. So now, how much corpus has been set up for this purpose? The answer is very simple. Kindly memorize this allocation. It is Rs.200 Crore. Now friends, regarding this APMCs, there was a very important announcement that was made in the budget 2017-18 as well. Kindly go through the MCQ document for the detailed explanation. We would have mentioned what was the previous announcement that was made and what is the present status regarding that announcement. Now friends, moving on to question number 9, it says that which of the following is the amount allocated for Ministry of Food Processing? The answer to this question is simple, Rs.1400 Crore. Now kindly note this figure in mind. Comparing to the allocation made in the previous budget, it has been doubled. So it was 715 crore in the last year budget and now it has been moved or increased to 1400 crore. Now friends, there's a very important scheme which is related to the food processing sector. That is the Sampada Yojana. Prime Minister Krishi Sampada Yojana. So this is basically a flagship program for boosting investment in the food processing sector, right? So it is very important for us to be aware of the features regarding this particular scheme. Now, let us move on to the next question, that is question number 10. It says, which of the following schemes has been renamed as Prime Minister Krishi Sampada Yojana by the government? So, is it the Agro scheme? Is it the Integrated Food Processing scheme? Is it the Agri Cluster scheme, Sampada scheme, or none of the above? The answer is very simple and direct. In fact, it is the Sampada scheme. Now, as I repeated earlier, be sure that you are aware of all the salient features of this scheme before you enter your examination. This scheme is a very important scheme from the point of view of agriculture sector. Now let us see some of the few points regarding the scheme. The first thing, this Sampada scheme was approved in May 2017. Okay, so this is the first point, kindly note it. The second thing, it was approved for a period of 4 years, that is from 2016 to 20. Note this point, the second one. Third, this particular scheme was renamed as Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana in August 2017. The third point to note. So basically, what is the scheme all about? It is an umbrella scheme which incorporates the ongoing schemes of the Food Processing Ministry. So kindly go into the details as well. With this friends, we have discussed questions numbered from 1 to 10. In the next video, we shall be having a look at questions numbered from 11 to 20. Till then friends, thank you. Happy learning.